Microtransactions, probably the best part about gaming these days. Why pay that pesky one-off price of $60 to experience an epic story or pulse-pounding multiplayer when you could spend $60 and several additional payments of $5.99 each month? All for a chance at high-tier XP boosts, cosmetics, and other stuff that can only be described as trash! I'm being facetious for comedic purposes, but jokes aside, I am going to try and keep this video as unbiased as I possibly can.
Money.
Maybe have time for some jokes though. I do not like microtransactions, or more specifically, I do not like microtransactions in big budget games. I don't mind whipping out my phone to play a game of Candy Crush where I can expect an offer of hell, I don't know, diabetes bombs or whatever the hell they sell in those games. I expect that kind of business model from a free-to-play experience on mobile, and as far as I'm concerned, that's where it should have stayed. When I see loot boxes, cosmetic packs, boosters, or whatever else making it into and being sold on full-price titles, I feel like it cheapens the experience. Almost like lowering the game's standard to some time-killing app that I yank out of my pocket. Regardless of what's being sold on the respective stores, it feels tacky and, in my opinion, cheapens the product. When I talk about this, I am reminded of Dead Space. It's a franchise that I once considered to be the pioneer of horror and atmospheric gaming and had a fascinating story, very unsettling locations, and challenging enemies. Dead Space launched in October of 2008, and I was in love with it, but fast forward to the release of Dead Space 3 in February of 2013, and things have changed drastically. Gone was the atmospheric horror, replaced with some generic dialogue and an optional buddy shooter mechanic complete with microtransactions. Were the microtransactions to blame for Dead Space 3's issues? No, but in a game like Dead Space, weapon upgrades were important. Adding a crafting table as an excuse to shoehorn pay-to-win mechanics into an otherwise passable game was very disappointing, especially since these microtransactions essentially screwed with the flow of the game. You could just buy the resources and craft a stupidly overpowered gun that basically liquidized enemies on any difficulty. But we're here to talk about microtransactions in Halo. I will start this off by saying something important. If you personally find that microtransactions, specifically the rec packs in Halo 5, are worth your money, then that is your business. Nobody here can tell you how you can and cannot spend your money. I'm just here to give my opinion to anybody willing to listen. Now, microtransactions in Halo is one of those topics that everybody in our community jumps on. Everyone wants to have their opinion said on it. Whether they're indifferent, for, against, or very against, this is a subject that our community wants to discuss, especially when considering the future. Let's go back to E3 of 2015, where we were given a glimpse of the action that Halo 5 would eventually offer, with a campaign demo and a Warzone tease. Around the same time, more information about Warzone began to make its way to the general public that microtransactions were definitely confirmed for the mode, and the reaction to this was not positive from what I can remember. Shortly after the announcement, 343 responded to concerned fans with an update from Josh Holmes that said, "We'll be continuing to release new rec content post-launch, so there are always new toys to play with. All rec content in the game can be earned through the regular course in multiplayer. We'll also give players the option to purchase rec packs as a matter of convenience." In the following months, Microsoft put out this little tutorial for people wanting to learn more about the rec system, and while it has more likes than dislikes, the comment section is predominantly negative, with people highlighting one very specific part of the video.
Secure your noise hole, soldier!
Grown-ups are talking.
I've talked about this before, but I need to state for the record that I hope that 343 or the Microsoft marketing team never, ever attempt to explain away people's concerns with something like this.
Your noise hole just doesn't know when to quit.
It did nothing but add more fuel to an already scorching fire. And then in October of 2015, Halo 5 launched, complete with rec packs and Warzone, while missing several key staples to Halo, including Forge, Big Team, and Infection. I'm not saying that Warzone and recs were prioritized, but I do think that there may be a slight connection there, but I would like to be wrong. One thing in my mind is for sure though, it's that I don't think that players were going to respond very well to a new mode that featured microtransactions if all of the original staples were missing. There's really not much that I can say about this going further, but I think that learning from mistakes or missteps is better than all of us just shouting at 343 to remove the microtransactions, because that's not gonna happen. There's far too much potential revenue for Microsoft as a business to generate, so the likelihood of them removing microtransactions at this point is very, very slim. But in the spirit of learning and feedback, I would like to make a couple of suggestions for different systems to both the community and 343. Maybe I am beating a dead horse here, but I'm choosing not to be too negative about it because you never know what your voice is capable of until you speak out. So if you have some things that you would like to suggest, please do it. But the first thing that I want to mention is armor customization. Customization in video games is a big deal to a lot of people. Microtransactions taking advantage of this is fine by me if it's done in a way that's fair for both the business and the gamer. Halo 5's system was not fair. Rather than let the user buy a specific armor set, Halo 5 opted for a random number generator system. Basically, whenever you crack open a rec pack, you were essentially pulling the arm on a slot machine. Yeah, you were given something no matter what, but that also meant that there was plenty of junk to spare to keep you from getting what you wanted from the rec packs. To add insult to injury, there was no way to unlock something outside of the rec packs. No achievements or challenge related unlocks, nothing. You could argue that commendations gave you something, but it didn't give you specific items like cosmetics. You were just given a rec pack with a note that essentially said, good luck, you'll need it. In Halo Infinite, I think that this could be fought by unlocking something for finishing the campaign on harder difficulties, finishing a commendation, or doing something cool in the community. You cannot imagine the disappointment I felt upon finishing Halo 5 on Legendary only to unlock nothing but an achievement. Not even one free gold pack. At the very least, cosmetics should be unlockable through challenges and direct purchases for exactly what you want, rather than this RNG system that takes advantage of impatient and even vulnerable people. And since there are vulnerable people out there, I feel like I should mention my opinion that the community should not glorify microtransactions. I really hope that I don't catch flack for this one because I'm a content creator and I've been privileged to meet so many great people that I respect as creators too, but I have to speak my mind on this one, bearing in mind that it is just my opinion. If Halo Infinite launches with a system very different to Halo 5's, this shouldn't be too much of an issue. But during Halo 5's early life, there were a lot of creators showcasing rec pack openings to their audiences. I doubt that there was an ulterior motive to these videos. I think people were just itching to show what you could get in the new packs after the updates. My opinion of rec packs is that they're basically tame slot machines. You pull a lever for a chance at something good happening. It's a tame form of gambling, and I seriously disagree with the idea of promoting this to what is potentially a young or impressionable audience. It just feels wrong. I always felt like rec showcases were so much more interesting when people didn't show the pack opening part, but did an actual in-game showcase of the armor and skins in action over sitting in a lobby hearing the same sound over and over and over. I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to take some kind of stupid moral high ground, because I'm not. I'll do what I want with my channel and others can do what they want to do with theirs. I just disagree with the idea of promoting something like this because at the end of the day, microtransactions are not your friends. I don't want to seem overdramatic, but I have seen a lot of people say things like, oh, I've never bought a rec pack before and I never will, or I would rather they sell these than DLC maps, and to that I just have to say that you aren't the target audience. You were never the target audience. Whether you know about it or not, some quick research into the psychology behind microtransactions will tell you that these packs are not designed with the idea to be marketed to everybody, just a few. And the more you read, the more disturbing it can become. But if you've never, ever, ever spent a penny on microtransactions before, you were never the target demographic. The target demographic are people who spend at a higher rate or people who are impatient. And there are systems out there built to identify that type of player and to take advantage of their high spending habits or impatience. Does Halo 5 make use of that? I don't think so, and I don't think that 343 would use such a system either. But I would not be surprised if there was a psychological element to how the rec system works in Halo 5. Now, as far as the free maps in Halo 5 went, I will admit, it was very nice seeing new maps on the regular for free. Part of my struggle with older Halo games was finding other players in matchmaking with the DLC. In previous games, if your lobby had just one person who didn't purchase the new map pack, you wouldn't be able to find DLC matches and it felt like you had spent your money on nothing. Especially as time went on and the population dwindled. I suppose that your reaction to the statement of preferring free DLC over paid DLC depends on how you saw Halo 5's maps. Personally, I thought that we had far too many remixes of maps that already gave off a bit of a meh vibe, and while I think that Forgers have done an amazing job with the BTB maps, I was very disappointed that 343 never did make their own original large-scale maps for BTB. I think given the option to have that exact same experience for Infinite, I would cheerfully opt to just buy DLC maps, but that's just me. There's a lot of things that can come into this when discussing microtransactions, but one thing is clear in my mind. I've said it before and I will say it again. Whether you love or hate microtransactions in Halo, the likelihood of them being removed is slim to none. It's fine if some of us like them, it's fine if some of us hate them, but I think the best course of action is not to react to any future announcements negatively. Well, depending on what kind of microtransactions were actually offered. But to respond with suggestions for alternatives. Games and movies aren't exactly the same thing, but I have to use the reaction to the new Sonic movie trailer as an example of what can happen when people use their voice. The trailer came out, Sonic looked fugly as hell, Paramount Pictures responded to criticism by saying that they're going to change it. There's no way that 343 or Microsoft are going to respond to heated negative press by doubling down. They'll try and make it work for both sides. I don't think that we should have reached a state where we have to find a compromise for that. As I've said, I think that microtransactions should have just stayed in the mobile market, but they're here now, and if they're not going away, all we can do is make the best of the situation and help shape it in a way that improves things. Well, that's all I got. I'm going to move it straight into comment time, but stay tuned for the end because I'm going to do something a bit different that I've been wanting to do for a while.
Your noise hole just doesn't know when to quit.
How are babies made? I am not the right person to be asking about male and female relations. You should make a Discord server for discussions, thoughts, and, well, I don't know, socialization. You mean like this one that you can join right now, link in the description, wink nudge wink wink? Have you ever thought about dubbing Cat's death from Halo Reach? I think about that every night before I go to sleep, but I'm too afraid of what I might create. The reason for the Arbiter's armor change is because
I dressed in gold for this.
if there were two vehicles that you wanted to combine into one in Halo, like the Revenant and the Spectre, what would you choose and what would it be called? I would combine the Banshee and the Wraith, and I would name it Braith. Takua! Now very quickly, I said a moment ago that I would like to do something cool, so going forward, immediately after comment time, I will be featuring another creator here. This time around, I would like to showcase UberNick. I stand by my comments that Nick is one of the best Halo creators out there, and I consider him to be something the community desperately needs more of. He is a very decent person, very fun to watch, and in some cases, very fun to betray. If you would like the chance to be featured, please use the hashtag DaveSpotlight and tell me what you make and why I should take a look. Are you an artist or is your work on a different website? That's not a problem. You can either send it to me on Twitter using the same hashtag or join my Discord server and privately message it to me. I was going to end this video by saying that I'm only going to be featuring one person per commentary, but I think that I need to shout this person out as well. On Instagram, there is a user by the name of GCustoms Creations who has very kindly decided to make my Halo 5 Spartan in Mega Bloks form, and I am absolutely in love with it. I think it's fantastic. I mean, look at this thing, it's adorable. So for this one time, as well as UberNick stuff, I'm also going to be linking to GCustoms' Instagram and his Twitter page, so please go and have a look. He also does commissions, and I don't think you would be disappointed with checking out either one of these people. Anyway, as usual, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.